support our movement. Some good instruction from Srila Prabhupada. So to conduct some good business, but if it doesn't help the preaching, then it can be an entanglement. And that goes for anything in the material world. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhaktavinda. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Sri Caitanya-caritāmṛta, Madhya Lila, chapter 19, entitled The Lord Instructs, verse number 206. Vivaha Krishno Bhagavan. Vivaha Krishno Bhagavan. Sridamanam Parajita. Sridamanam Parajita. Vrishabam Padrasenas tu. Vrishabam Padrasenas tu. Pralambo Rohini Sutam. Pralambo Rohini Sutam. Vivaho Krishna Bhagavan. Sridamanam Parajita. Vrishabam Padrasenastu. Pralambori Rohini Sutam. Vivaha Krishna Bhagavan. Sridamanam Parajita. Vrishabam Padrasenastu. Pralambori Rohini Sutam. Vivaha Krishna Bhagavan. Sridamanam Parajita. Vrishabam Padrasenastu. Pralambo Rohini Sutam. Please chant. Maho Krishna Bhagavan. Sridamanam Parajita. Vrishabam Padrasenastu. Pralambo Rohini Sutam. Maho Krishna Bhagavan. Sridamanam Parajita. Vrishabam Padrasenastu. Pralambo Rohini Sutam. Vaho Krishna Bhagavan. Sridamanam Parajita. Vrishabam Padrasenastu. Pralambo Rohini Sutam. Anyone else? Vivaha carried Krishna, Lord Krishna. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sridamanam, Sridama. Parajita, being defeated. Vrishabam, Vrishva. Padrasena, Tu, and Pralamba, Rohini Sutam, Balaram. Translation: Krishna was defeated by Sridama. He had to carry him on his shoulders. Similarly, Padrasena carried Vrishabha and Pralamba carried Balaram, the son of Rohini. Please repeat. When Krishna was defeated by Sridama, he had to carry him on his shoulders. Similarly, Bhadrasena carried Vrishabha, and Pralamba carried Balaram, the son of Rohini. Srila Prabhupada's purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10, 18-24. When all cowherd boys were playing in the forest of Vrindavan, the demon Pralambasura appeared in order to kidnap Krishna and Balaram. The Asura appeared disguised in the form of a cowherd boy, but Krishna could understand his trick. Krishna therefore divided all the cowherd boys into two parties. One party belonged to Balaram, and the other party belonged to Krishna himself. Ultimately, Krishna was defeated in this play, and according to the wager, the defeated party had to carry the victorious party on their shoulders. Krishna had to carry Sridama on his shoulders, and Bhadrasena had to carry Vrishabha. The demon Pralambasura had to carry Balaram, and when Balaram mounted his shoulders, the demon ran far away. Finally, the demon began to expand his body to a gigantic size, and Balaram understood that he intended to kill him. Balaram immediately struck the demon's head with a strong fist, and the demon fell down dead as if he were a snake whose head had been smashed. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gananjanathlakaya Chakshurnatamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Kam Karoti Vacham Pangam Lagate Girim Yat Kripatamam Vande Shri Girim Dintaranam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Ram Hare Hare. When Krishna was defeated by Sridama, he had to carry him on his shoulders. Similarly, Bhadrasena carried Vrishabha and Pralamba carried Balaram, the son of Rohini. So if Krishna is Ajita, he cannot be conquered by anyone. How could he be defeated by a cowherd boy? Leela. You just say Leela for anything you don't understand. Yeah, what Leela is that? Krishna enjoys these pastimes with his devotees. They're enacted out of pure love. We also find it in the Nectar of Devotion. So I forget which one's which. Is Jatila the mother or the daughter, and Kutila the mother or the daughter? Jatila is the mother, and Kutila is the daughter. So correct me if I'm wrong, but there was apparently some attempt to try to pair off Krishna with Kutila, and Jatila was always she was chastising Krishna because in her eyes he was always up to some kind of nefarious activity, doing his own programs, so to speak. And she would chastise him, and Krishna would insult her in many different ways. Basically, he'd just pretty much call her an old hag, and he'd insult her in such a way, I won't go into the details, but but Krishna enjoys that. String beans. Krishna enjoys that very much. In fact, he said he enjoys this. Actually, was it Uddhava came to see Krishna in Vrindavan? I mean, seeing Jatila chastising Krishna, Uddhava was saying, "Doesn't she know who you are? How dare she?" And Krishna says, "No, don't interfere. This is more enjoyable than the prayers of the personified Vedas. These are my pure devotees. This is the pastimes of the Lord." So sometimes people get caught up in soap operas, either on TV or in real life, because they like a bit of drama. And some people are known as drama queens, isn't it? Whether they're male or female, they're still called drama queens. Because whatever's happening, there's always got to be some drama going on, isn't it? Life isn't interesting enough. But the real drama is in the spiritual world. There's always some drama going on. So the glorification of these movie stars and etc. Then this glorification is meant for Krishna. So if someone can take glorification and not pass on to Krishna, then this means they're envious. They might not be standing there with a furrowed brow, looking at a picture of Krishna, going, "I hate you," but their actions actually speak. That they're taking the place of Krishna. They take a stage, or they'll take on a podium, and they'll accept the center of attention. So it used to be that devotees would quite commonly tell each other that they were envious if they had some trouble with it. Maybe you remember that. If we're having trouble, devotees say, "Oh, Prabhu, you're just envious. Just getting at your service." But nowadays, if you see somebody's envious, you're an offender. You're not allowed to tell somebody they're in Maya. That's bogus. That's Maya. To say that they're in Maya. That is the nature of the world. Like Prabhupada said, it's one devotee says, "Sometimes I fall into Maya." He says, "You're always in Maya. Sometimes you fall into Krishna." So this is the better mood. Prabhupada showing us this is a mood that we should always think, I'm such a fool, number one. And if Prabhupada was fool number one, then, what can we be? We simply can't be any better. We can't say we're fool number two, because that would mean we're better than Prabhupada. So he's shown us this example, and he wasn't just like saying, "Okay, this is the thing to say, I'll just say this," and they feel it. Just like these Vaishnava acharyas when these songs, that they're feeling lower than a blade of grass, etc. Then they really feel that. They're not just saying it because that's what we fallen conditioned souls need to hear. They feel like that. The interesting thing is that the more you advance in Krishna consciousness, the less you think of yourself. And the less you think of yourself and think of Krishna, the more you advance Krishna consciousness. The problems often come simply because we're too much absorbed in ourselves and not even our real self, what we think to be ourselves. I remember quite recently going through quite an intense situation, and I was just thinking, how much more or how much longer? And then I had a nice thought that actually I'm nothing to do with any of this. I'm actually a spirit, soul, eternal servant of Krishna, and so is everybody else. And if we remember that whatever we're going through is just some temporary interaction with the modes of material nature, karma, interaction with other living entities, threefold miseries. But the thing is to always remember Krishna, whatever we're going through. And this is the first principle of Krishna consciousness, to always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. And when we remember Krishna, we have to remember our position in relation to Krishna, that we're a servant. And in the association of devotees, then we try to serve together to bring about the manifestation of the Lord's desire, the Lord's plan. Of course, I've said it a few times, but it's also relevant. One devotee asked Prabhupada, will Lord Caitanya spread his mission through his devotees? And Srila Prabhupada said that Lord Caitanya would spread his mission despite the devotees. So he's not depending on us. We depend on him. Just like we mistakenly sometimes think, I've done so much for this movement, what's it ever done for me? Actually, it's the opposite. This movement's done so much for us. Where would we be without it? Who knows if any of us would still be in their bodies? Back in the mid-80s, actually this would have been 84, I was living back to Caitanya-caritāmṛta, and the town that I came from, Cumbernauld, we had quite a few friends who were interested in Krishna consciousness, and one of them came to visit back to the manor. A few have joined by this time, and I was quite surprised to see him because I wasn't sure he was really that serious about it or that he knew much, but he came down with the view to join. But then he decided not to, and he went back. And it was only a few weeks later I heard he was in a motorbike accident, and was paralysed from the neck down. I was thinking if he joined when he was thinking to, then his car wouldn't have caught him. He wouldn't have been on a motorbike for a start. And it made me realise that you don't know what's out there. and better to remain in the shelter of Krishna. In fact, there was a couple of Srila Prabhupada's disciples who previously were gangsters. And gangsters means they do a lot of nasty things, which means a lot of heavy reactions due because of that. So they were in India and they had their astrology chart done, and this astrologer, you could read the palms and you could read your forehead, different things that you can tell by your physiognomy of what your karma is, etc., what your destiny is. So he told them that actually, according to your chart and the lines on your hand, that you should both be dead by now. He says, but there's somebody in your life who's holding this back. So they showed him a picture of Prabhupada and they said, yes, this person, whatever you do, don't leave the shelter. So this is the Krishna conscious movement, is giving shelter to all living entities without discrimination. But it's up to the living entities how they take that shelter. Just like the sun is indiscriminate, Lord Chaitanya is known as Maha Vidanyaya Avatar, the most merciful incarnation. He is not discriminating who he's giving the holy name to, who he's giving love to God, love of Godhead to. But if somebody is out, if the sun comes out, and some people choose not to come into the sun, they cannot say, they can't complain that they're not getting a suntan. They would, well, you have to come at the house. At least you have to do that. So this is the situation. We have to come out of our old self and come into the light of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes in the light of Krishna consciousness it can be a bit uncomfortable because we're used to hiding in the darkness of our false ego and our kind of vikarmic activities. We take shelter and refuge in what we think ourselves to be, or what we have portrayed ourselves to be to others. But Krishna knows who we really are, and if we submit to this process of Krishna consciousness and surrender to the will of the Lord, then we reinstate our original service to the Lord, our original constitutional position. So although Krishna is known as Ajita, unconquerable, he's conquered by love. This is the name of Krishna, means all attractive. But Prabhupada mentions, Rupa Goswami mentions in Nectar of Devotion that Krishna is attracted by the service, by the loving devotional service of his devotees. So Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, he said that don't try to see God, but act in such a way God will see you. So this is our mood. In doing devotional service, we're not thinking, is such and such going to see me and recognise me and give me a pat on the back and give me the Back of the Year award. Sometimes they have these awards, like Sankirtan Devotee of the Year award, Back of the Year award. But there's so many nice devotees, how can you single one out? And how do we really know the heart of somebody? I've seen it that someone's been like the Sankirtan winner and they're hoisted above everybody's head and there's a big jive going on. And within a couple of years, they're nowhere to be seen. But then you get some humble little devotee who didn't do half as much as him, but he's still doing it decades later after the big jive's left. So we can't see what's in someone's heart. And Prabhupada said, don't be surprised who leaves this movement, but be surprised who stays. So sometimes we'll even surprise ourselves that we stay. We think, I'll never make it. But the devotees carry us along. It's by the mercy of the devotees that we're all here. And devotees means we always think of others. It's not just like some of them are devotees and some are not. By the mercy of all the devotees. Prabhupada's mood was that everyone's a nice devotee except for him. So that's good, because that means they were always learning. We're always thinking, this devotee is a better devotee than me. How can I get the qualities that person has? Even Srimati Radharani, she's put in others, she's the topmost devotee. Radharani, her very name suggests that she's the queen of worship. Aradhanam Sarveshu. Radha means to worship, and she's the queen of worship. She's the topmost devotee back to Devi. But she's saying, oh, Krishna, look at this. He's such a nice devotee. Let this devotee serve you so nicely. Please notice him. So she's so compassionate like that. So a few interesting points in this verse is, so Pralamba, or Pralambasura, he was sent by Kamsa. So we all know the reason why Kamsa was sending people to Vrindavan, his demons. What was the reason again? Kill Krishna, yeah. Why did he want to kill Krishna? He's only a little kid, leave him alone. Call the Child Protection Services. The head of the Child Protection Services, Lord Singh. So why did they want to kill Krishna? What kind of threat could he be to a big king like Kamsa? Yeah, there was an oracle in the sky, wasn't there? And the voice said, the 8th son of Devaki will be the death of you, right? Yeah, so if you go to Mathura, you can see the place where Krishna was born in. He was born in a jail. Of course, Krishna is never born. Ajananti Mam Mudha. Fools to ride me when I descend in human form. So Krishna is never born, he just appears by his own sweet will. There was one devotee prior to joining in the movement, he had got involved in some kind of drug business. He gave it up when he joined, but his past was catching up on him, and he had to attend some court case, and he was expecting that he would have to do some time for it. So he was quite lamenting. He was lamenting, and he said to Prabhupada, because of my past sins, then I may have to actually go to jail. And I'm not much of a devotee. And Prabhupada said, he says, that's okay. Krishna was born in the jail. He said, but I was dealing drugs. He said, I was also selling drugs. And Prabhupada was a pharmacist. So this is Prabhupada's mood that, we put some disqualification there, and Prabhupada just takes that disqualification away. That's okay, don't worry about that. Just come. He doesn't disqualify anyone. But at the same time, once they're a devotee, then if they acted nonsense, he would tell them quite straightforward. There was one time, he walked into the Bhoga, I don't know which temple it was, he walked into the Bhoga room, the deity's Bhoga room, and there's a devotee sleeping in there. He just as they called him demon devotee. He still called him a devotee though, so he gave him a chance. And a similar experience when I was in Chaitanya College. I was a Bhakta, and it was a church. The temple was a church. It was quite a big temple room, and it had a balcony. And I was quite tired. I wasn't used to doing without so much sleep. So I thought I'll sneak up to the balcony and have a nap. Nobody will notice, and then I'll wake up and then I'll do the temple really quick. So I was calculating in this way. And I knew it was wrong to sleep in the temple. You're not supposed to sleep in the temple room. So I went upstairs, according to my plan. Everything was all set up, a few mats out and things. And there was the balcony there, so nobody would see me unless they actually came up to the balcony, and I wasn't expecting anyone. And this Pujari was playing some lecture of Srila Prabhupada. And just at the point where I put my head down, I was about to close my eyes. Then in the lecture, Prabhupada all of a sudden shouted, "You rascal!" And I jumped up thinking, wow, Prabhupada's just timed that perfect to give me a chastisement because I've been such a nonsense. So then I didn't even attempt to sleep after that. I got up and continued my service. So I took that as Krishna's mercy. If we're looking for Krishna's mercy, it will come in so many different ways. We'll see it. But if we're not, we'll be blind to it. Just like there was one devotee who was Prabhupada wasn't in favour of jumping. You know what jumping means? I don't mean jumping in kirtan. There was another term that Prabhupada used, jumping. Can anyone think? No, okay, I'll better explain it. So, in terms of reading the 10th canto, when we read the 10th canto in the pastimes of the Lord, we should read the other 9 cantos first so that we become qualified to read the pastimes of Krishna. So it's considered that when you take darshan of the deity, you take darshan of the feet first, and then you gradually come up to the face. So the first canto are the feet, etc. The cantos are going up until you come to the 10th canto, that's seeing the beautiful face of the Lord. And this is the way we offer respect and worship to the deities. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, the cantos are explained in such a way so we can understand the greatness of the Lord, the Lord's pastimes, the Lord's devotees. So by the time we come to the 10th canto, we already accept that Krishna is not an ordinary person. His pastimes are not of this material world. We cannot understand his pastimes, but so he wasn't in favour of jumping, just going straight to the 10th canto. But there was this one devotee who was just reading the 10th canto and didn't have enough philosophical understanding. So even though some devotees had said something the person didn't want to hear, so it just so happened that Hari Sauri Prabhu had written some, he'd spoken some nice lectures, because he had a lot of association with Srila Prabhupada, and he's categorized different things. So there's one category about sahajas, about taking things cheaply and hearing outside of ISKCON, things like that. So on the way to Sankirtan, for a full week, we were playing these tapes, and everybody was listening except for this one. It was meant for this one person, actually. Everyone was listening except for that one person who was deeply engrossed in the 10th canto. After a full week, then I finally said something to the person. So if we really want to understand Krishna, then we have to understand, how does Krishna want us to approach? Does he want us just to jump right into the 10th canto, or does he want us to understand what's the proper way to approach him so we're doing it safely? The Pralambasura here, he wasn't qualified to be a cowherd boy, but he took on a disguise and he tried to mingle with the cowherd boys, but Krishna noticed him straight away. Of course, Krishna is within the heart of everyone, so he knew even before he appeared on the scene that this was happening. So, but for the sake of the pastimes, then he allowed him to take part, and Krishna had arranged some game so that the the winners of the game would be carried on the shoulders of the losers. So such nice pastimes. Do you ever recall when you were young and you were out playing with your friends and your mother would shout, "Come on in, it's time for your dinner." Like, "Oh, just 5 more minutes." When you're a young child and you're playing, it's just timeless. You just think, "Oh, I could go on like this forever." So this is what the spiritual world's like. In the material world, it's all work and no play. And in the spiritual world, it's all play and no work. And even the work is play. So, of course, there's some enjoyment in the material world, but often, like Prabhupada says, that people don't know how to enjoy. The very enjoyment they take pleasure in is either the cause of them suffering now or in the future. Sometimes you see, like last night we were in Glasgow, and we see some drunken people stoating about the place, and you're thinking they could just walk into a car or bang into a lamppost or get in trouble or who knows what they could. They don't look like they're enjoying themselves. They look very miserable and morose, but they think they're enjoying themselves, and they have various terms to kind of describe how intoxicated they were, like blutered. That's one term. And bluter means like smashed. Oh, I was wrecked. It must have been a good night last night. I can't remember a thing about it. So, and this is what they call enjoyment. But what it is they're trying to escape the miseries of life, and that's because they are eternal spirit souls full of bliss and full of knowledge. And they're not experiencing that bliss. They're not happy with the life they've got, and neither should they be. But they're seeking some shelter, which is not going to give them what they're looking for. So by us going out there in whatever way we can to represent Krishna consciousness, give people the chance to connect with Krishna, just like Om Sri Om last night, there was 2 new people came, one that Panch had met in Satan the other day, and one other person who came for the first time. Turned out he lived in America, Maryland, for 10 years, and he had engaged in some kirtan over there. So Krishna will send these wandering souls when they're looking to find something related to Krishna, then he'll bring them. So although these demons sent by Kamsa had ill intent, Krishna being Ajita, even though he was defeated in play, and he wasn't defeated in this attempt of the demon Pralamba to kill Krishna, and he let Balaram take care of it. So this demon Pralamba was he was proud of his physical strength and his mystic abilities to change shape. He appeared as a little cowherd boy, probably looked as cute as a button, thinking that he'd fool Krishna and Balaram. But then when he took Balaram away, he took the opportunity, now that I'm carrying Balaram, I can take him away and kill him, and then come back for Krishna. So while thinking like this, he grew, as he took Balaram away, he grew into a gigantic form, and Balaram just smacked him once in the head, finished. I probably said it was like a snake with the head cut off, completely limp, you know. It's a nice analogy Prabhupada gives. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.2.16. The Lord is supremely perfect, and whenever he enacts his transcendental pastimes as a son, a rival, or an object of enmity, he plays the part so perfectly that even pure devotees like Uddhava are bewildered. For example, Uddhava knew perfectly well that Lord Sri Krishna is eternally existent and can neither die nor disappear for good, yet he lamented for Lord Krishna. All these events are perfect arrangements to give perfection to his supreme glories. It is for enjoyment's sake when a father plays with his little son and the father lies down on the floor as if defeated by the son. It is just to give the little son pleasure and nothing more. So when Krishna enacts these pastimes, it's to give pleasure to his devotees. So the devotees are trying to give pleasure to Krishna, and Krishna is trying to give pleasure to the devotees, and this is an eternal reciprocative act. So Krishna consciousness is all about reciprocation. We don't just take. We have to give. It's give and take. Like sometimes devotees don't want to accept service from each other. And that's nice, to be humble, thinking that, I should be serving, I shouldn't be accepting service. But sometimes we have to accept service from others so that they can do service. Just like the spiritual master, he's not thinking he's guru. Prabhupada said if he thinks he's guru, then he's not guru. He's thinking he's servant of his guru. And the service they accept, they're not thinking this person is serving me, why you not serving me so nicely, shouting at them, serve me better than this. Sometimes Prabhupada, the devotees would be serving him, and Prabhupada would chastise them. From the imperial point of view, people might think, this guy's serving you and you're yelling at him. But what it is Prabhupada saying, I'm showing how to serve Krishna. This is not how you serve Krishna. Do it properly. He's not thinking it's for him. So when we think it's for us, then that is a fallen condition. And the proof is that Prabhupada never accepted any credit for himself. He either deflected the credit to his disciples or to his spiritual master. But he wouldn't accept credit for himself. On the contrary. So the Lord is so kind that he makes these different pastimes simply for the pleasure of his devotees. There's another nice quote here from Srila Prabhupada, 3.9.15. The activities of the incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are a kind of imitation of the activities going on in the material world. He is just like an actor on a stage. An actor imitates the activities of a king on stage, although actually he is not the king. Similarly, when the Lord incarnates, he imitates parts with which he has nothing to do. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there's no work ascribed to him, but if he didn't engage in work, then the whole world would be put into ruination. Everything rests on me as pearls strung on a thread. So, because Krishna is so kind, he doesn't forget us, even though we forget him. He comes with us the whole way along. And Krishna is so soft-hearted. If we think Krishna doesn't care about us, actually it hurts him to know that. I was reading this in Sri Ramaraj's Naparayaham book, where Krishna says that when the devotees think that I don't care about them, that hurts them very much. Because sometimes, just like a parent, sometimes the parent will have to show some tough love so that the child will be able to grow, take care of itself, and not be in harm's way. And Krishna's doing like that. He's seeing that we're close, we're on the threshold of eternity, we're almost there, and we're thinking of getting into some nonsense. So Krishna sometimes makes things a little bit difficult for us to get into nonsense. Or he shows, it was Havi Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple, was here just a few days ago, and he was sharing with me something about Krishna's special mercy. One devotee was asking for some special mercy, and Prabhupada says Krishna's special mercy is that you're such a rascal you won't give up, so Krishna forces you to suffer, and then because you're suffering, then you have to give up. This is Krishna's special mercy. So then he said, do you still want Krishna's special mercy? That you have to suffer so much that only by then would you give up. So then devotee says, no. So the idea is to try to take the instructions of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra and act on them without having to be recipient of special mercy. But in Kali Yuga though, this is often the school we learn by, the school of hard knocks, that we're often not so smart. We have to be forced to suffer before we finally realise, oh, I'm doing this to myself. It's causing my suffering, nobody else. And if we can accept that, then that's a major step forward, because for many years we've just been playing the blame game. We have to accept whatever comes our way, it was meant for us. It didn't stop off at someone else, it came to us. It might be a bit difficult to accept that, but when we do accept it, then it becomes a kind of a relief, because this is the right way of thinking, it's the truth of the matter. So I'll just stop there if anyone's got any questions or comments. interesting, from a mundane point of view, or from the on-reverence point of view, I should say, actually, not mundane point, that when people are on Krishna and Balaram's shoulders and they're defeating them in wrestling matches, then those in on-reverence would think, oh, this is terrible, don't you know who you're dealing with? But that's it's on a completely different level, where the devotee is so surrendered to Krishna that Krishna just surrenders to his devotee as well. And we see that everything's coming from Krishna, so that means humility is also coming from Krishna. We see that Krishna is driving the chariot of Arjuna. So basically, he's being a driver for somebody. When people are affluent in the material world, they no longer drive a car, they sit in the back and someone else drives for them. They get a big car, big enough that they can sit away, far away from the driver and just or get chauffeured around. But Krishna is so humble that he'll serve his devotee in this way. And his devotees are so intelligent that Arjuna would rather have Krishna as his chariot driver than his whole army on the other side. And so this is what Prabhupada is giving us, that if we continue this process of Krishna consciousness, then we will also be there in Krishna's eternal pastimes. And that we belong. We do have that inheritance. And Lord Brahma promises that if we just patiently bear the reactions which are due us, whatever happiness and distress comes and goes, and we just see one of Krishna's first instructions is Matra Sparshas Kantiya, Shita Krishna, Sukadukada, Agamapayanam Nityastam Stitikshashva Bharata. That we should learn to tolerate happiness and distress, just like the winter and summer seasons are passing, and learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So that means that to begin with, we are going to be disturbed because we haven't yet learned. That means we have to learn what is the art of that. And that begins with accepting that this is my lot. And just patiently bearing it, Lord Brahma is saying, if we patiently bear these reactions in due course of time, then there'll be no more reactions made, and all that will be left is pure devotional service. But this is also described in the Bhagavatam, that when we try to, try to remember the exact words. When we try to counter reverses which we experience in the material world, then we simply become more entangled again in the reactions. So when reverses are there in life, then we have to patiently bear it and carry on with the devotional service. And similarly, Krishna doesn't say we have to just tolerate distress, we have to tolerate happiness as well. And tolerating happiness means that we don't become elated and distracted. Bhogashvaya prasaktanam taiparatachetasam. So by bhoga, sense enjoyment, and aishwarya, material opulence, we have to be careful to not become distracted by these things. I remember Kripa Moya Prabhu mentioning that we've done well to go through so many difficulties, but when success comes, can we handle that? We can handle different trials and tribulations, but also success can be a trial. So in either way, we have to remember Krishna and remember the purpose of what we're doing, and don't change our program, whatever comes and goes. Preach to the four walls, or spend $1 million in Krishna service before dinner time. Someone said, if you were given $1 million, probably what would you do? He said, I have it spent before lunchtime. So this is pure devotee. He can use anything in Krishna service, any amount. And Prabhupada said, he says, my only fault was I couldn't think small. I could only think big. And that's good for us. If Prabhupada is small thinking, then we probably wouldn't be here today. So let's try to be part of Prabhupada's big plan and the prophecy of Lord Chaitanya to take the holy name to every town and village, to all these spirit souls, who are rotting in material existence. And sometimes we think our service doesn't amount to much, but it does for them. You know, we go out in Sankirtan, we may only do a handful of books, but that's that's only in relation to someone that did more books. You know, if doing 5 books a day was big, then, you know, if everyone else normally did 1 or 2 books, you'd think, oh yeah, I did 5 today. Get me up on your shoulders, everybody. I'm the champion. So it's all relative, but what is really important is the people who get those books. You may have only done 1 book that day. I'm not, you know, I'm advocating that you should just go out and do 1 book purely, because Prabhupada doesn't agree with that. Prabhupada calls it blanket distribution. Just cover, get all the books out. Don't worry about it, just get them out. But it's very significant for the person who gets the book, because their life could be changed. They could become a devotee. And it happens. It has happened. So we'll just stop there. It's Guru ki, Sri Prabhupada ki, Shri Caitanya-caritāmṛta ki, Nitagore Premande.
It's great. Prabhupada ki.